Alright, y'all, your girl is back. I am out of the trenches of whatever step one was. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Morgan. I am a second year medical student in New York City at NYU Grossman School of Medicine, and today we are diving into clerkships. So I have finally conquered whatever the heck step one was. I still have no idea what I made on it, but you know, I took the exam and that's pretty much all I can do. I'm just gonna have to wait for my score. But in 2 days, I start clerkship orientation. I just kind of wanted to take you guys behind the scenes on what my clerkship schedule is gonna look like and kind of what I'm expecting for all of my rotations. Let's dive in. So we were still like in our last module of the year, brain and behavior, and they were like, hey guys, so we actually, it's time for you guys to rank your like palettes. And I'm like, I don't know what a palette is, like, and they're like, here you go, it's A through X. So A, B, C, D, all the way through X. So that's like 24 different options. And then we were given a lottery number. So there's like 106 people in our class, and I think my lottery number was, I was 91. So imagine 91 out of 106. So like 1 means like you got your first choice. And I was actually very lucky that I was able to get like one of my higher choices, but let me just show you guys. So they just gave us this and they were like, okay, pick. So there was, although there's 24 different options, there's like really 4 major sections. So there's really like the class is going to be divided into 4. So there's medicine, which whenever people in medical school would say medicine, I'm like, what? Isn't everybody doing medicine? But like medicine is basically internal medicine, like hospital medicine, also like outpatient, but it's just like general patient care. And then another block consists of OB-GYN and pediatrics, so that's its own block. And then we have another block which is surgery, and then we have a final block which is psychiatry and neurology. So those are like the 4 major blocks. So it really was just like figuring out what you wanted to start with, what you wanted to end with. So we can see that the first chunk on here, like A through F, is medicine first, then OB-Peds, then surgery, then psych neuro. And so it really just was like talking with upperclassmen, and then of course like our we have like mentors that are physicians, and then also like just like our Office of Medical Education, they were like giving us advice, and like the most general advice was like, don't do what you wanna, like the specialty you're considering, don't do it first or last. So like really don't want to do it first because like you're not gonna know anything, and then also you don't want to do it last because like you might be more burnt out. So it's like if there's something you're interested in, try to do it like 2 or 3. And we also have like an added layer here at NYU because we have the 3-year program. And so for students that are thinking about applying to the 3-year program, that application process is in like early next year. So they kind of were like, well, maybe I should do what I want to do during the first block so that way I can go ahead and have it done before I'm applying to the 3 years. So like the 3-year, like people that read the application can like get they can get letters of recommendation and they can already have the experience. It really just like solidified that's what they want to do before committing to that program. And then I can only say that this is like only for my school because some schools like they don't give you an option at all, or other schools like it's all at different, you rank your sites and then you go there. But for us it was like ranking the order of the rotations, and then for every rotation then we will rank our sites independently, and we do that like as the year goes on. So for the first like chunk, A through F, that was kind of out of the question for me because I'm interested in family medicine. So medicine is like the closest to that. So I was like, okay, I don't necessarily want to start with medicine. And then all of like the people in my class that were interested in surgery were kind of going for that block because surgery's 3rd there, so it's right in the middle, which is perfect. And then ending on psych neuro, which is supposed to be like the most chill in terms of hours. So I was like, I don't know if I necessarily want to be with all the surgery bros and gals. So that was kind of out of the picture for me. Then we moved to the second chunk, so G through L. And I was like, okay, this I could vibe with, but it would be very intense to start with OB and peds and then surgery, but then like the end of the year would kind of be chill. But then I was like, I don't necessarily know because medicine would be at the end for me. And then like we were saying, don't want to do like what you want to do with that for your last kind of block. But I kept this in my mind just because I was like, I'm not totally opposed to it, you know? And then we have the third chunk N through R. This was my top option because if we look at this one, surgery's first, so like, okay, they're gonna have the lowest expectation because it's our first rotation. If I don't want to do surgery, why not just do that one first, go ahead and get it out the way? And then also, like, I feel like when I go into my rotation, I'm very excited for a rotation, so I'm super excited to just like dive in, hit the ground running. So I was like, okay, at least I'll have like extra energy when I'm doing surgery, even though I'm not as interested in it. And then medicine would be in the middle. So like I ranked N through O first because I feel like I would want to do peds at the end rather than ending in OB-GYN. So that was basically how that worked. And then also the last chunk, so S through X, that one, not bad. An option for me because medicine would be second, but you're having the craziest 2 rotations, OB and then surgery back to back, and at the end of the year when you're already exhausted. So that's kind of like, I was like, don't know how I feel about that. So ultimately I ranked M through R first. So like the third chunk first, and then I ranked G through L. So like the second chunk, I ranked those second, I think, and then like I kind of mixed in like the first chunk and the last chunk. And luckily, we have a lot of people at my school that are interested in surgery. So of course they didn't want to do surgery first. So I got very lucky and I was able to get my 4th choice. So my 4th choice in terms of like letters, but still within my first block. So I'm going to be letter R. So I am so excited for that. That means that I will be doing 2 weeks of clerkship orientation starting on Monday. And then after that, I will be doing 10 weeks of surgery. Then I'll go home for Christmas break, come back, I'll do psych, then I'll do psychiatry, then I'll do neurology. Then we'll have like an integrated clinical skills week, and we're supposed to get half a week off, so another tiny little break. And then I will do medicine for 10 weeks, then another little break, and then I'll come back and do peds, and then I'll end with OB. So like, although I want it to like end with peds and not OB, so like the ending will be a hard like 4 to 5 weeks, but I'm really excited. And OB is very related to family medicine, so I want to like, you know, kind of like, I think it'll be something that I'm interested in, so hopefully I'll have like a little bit of energy that I can hold on to and use that to get me through the end of clerkships. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what I'm expecting out of every rotation. So we're going to start with everything but surgery, and we'll talk about that at the end just because that's the one that I'm about to first. So I have a little bit more insight into it. I'm just going to tell you guys like the words that come into my head when I think about these rotations, and I think that this will be really funny to look back on after I've done the rotation. I'm going to try to do like a video recapping every single rotation, so that way you can kind of see like what did I expect versus what it turned out to be. So for OB, when I think of OB, I just think of like babies being born, and then of course there's like the gyne side, so I guess like IUDs. But mostly I'm thinking of babies being born, and I've heard the hours are really bad, so that is my expectation. For pediatrics, I'm thinking there's gonna be like snotty little kids, like coming in, especially outpatients with like colds and stuff, like with, you know, just nasty. But hopefully I won't like, I'd rather do outpatient because I don't want to see like really sick kids in the hospital. That would be kind of sad, but I really just think of like kids coming in with their colds, and then hopefully maybe some like happy babies doing like their like wellness visits because happy babies are so cute. And medicine, so medicine outpatient, I'm thinking it'll kind of be like family medicine, internal medicine, like kind of like the practice I used to work at, like treating a lot of conditions like diabetes, high cholesterol, all that good jazz. But then inpatient medicine, when I think of inpatient medicine, I think of like the ICU. So I just feel like calculating a lot of like anion gaps and looking at labs and seeing what the issue is. Maybe a little bit of pneumonia. That's what it's giving. So that is my thoughts when I think of medicine. And then neurology. Like the only thing I think about with neurology is like neurosurgery, but I know that's different. I mean, I guess all the cranial nerves, like traumatic brain injuries, I'm thinking that's probably what you see on neurology. I really have no idea what to expect at all for neurology, but I'm thinking like traumatic brain injury, so we'll see. For psychiatry, this is a good one. So we actually did go into the hospital and we did like, I forget what they're called. It's basically where you like assess a patient's state of mind, and you will do this like to give to another physician or like for court cases if they request it per patient. So we did that with patients that were on the psychiatry ward during the school year. So I'm thinking it's just going to be a lot of that, just like interviewing patients, seeing what their mental state is. And then I'm also thinking like maybe consults, like maybe patients that have like are in the ICU but they have delirium. So I think that'll be, and then maybe like exacerbations of chronic mental illnesses. So the people that may have bipolar disease or schizophrenia and they need to be hospitalized, like taking care of them, making sure they get their medications like all set up. So that's what I'm thinking for that. And then surgery. So I actually had no idea what to expect for surgery. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna vibe and like I'm just gonna do like general surgery. Well, so our surgery rotation is very interesting. So you can see it's kind of like split up here. So actually I will start with a 2-week integrated experience or whatever, which is going to be complementary to my 4-week experience. So I have no idea what that is. They haven't told us anything about that. But then I'll do 2 weeks of a surgery elective. So my surgery elective, I was actually able to go ahead and choose, and there were a lot of options for that. I chose emergency medicine. That was also a lottery, but I was able to get my top choice. But they had everything from like neurosurgery, anesthesiology, urology surgery, whatever it's called, all that stuff. So they had all of those. So I'm going to be doing emergency medicine for my surgery related elective, and then we'll have the 4-week chunk of like general surgery. But even for that, there was a bunch of options, which they literally just told us like yesterday, and I just ranked my preferences. But there were a bunch of options for that. So we had trauma, surg-onc / colorectal, general surgery / bariatrics, vascular, Ranson, which is like hepatobiliary and pancreatic, pediatrics, acute care, colorectal, non-IBD, and then acute care service / trauma. And some of those, like, so there's 9 different options, and some of those like overlap because we have 3 different sites that we can rotate at. So they basically sent us like a huge document with like explaining what all of them were, and talked with the upperclassmen and was like getting some feedback about like which ones have longer surgeries, which one have shorter surgeries, how are the hours, how are they relevant to the shelf exams, and the OSCEs that we have to do at the end of the year. And so I was like leaning towards something that was a little bit like peds, they say, was a little bit less hands-on because of course like you have children and they're a lot more like fragile, so you don't just want to like in there, because they're much tinier than adults are. But and then vascular, I think it's like a little bit more chill from what I've heard. But ultimately, like, I just took the mindset of it's my first rotation, and for me personally, I know that I don't want to just like settle for what I think is going to be the easiest for all of my rotations, because like in my mind, like this is going to be might be the only 6 to 10 weeks that I'm doing surgery ever, because like when I start getting into my electives, I'm going to be doing more like outpatient family medicine things. So that's what I'm interested in specialty wise. And so I feel like I owe it to myself to make sure that I'm like trying to get the most out of the experience with every rotation, and like pushing myself to learn different things, but still, keeping it relevant to my field or my future specialty. And so what I decided to do is I ranked general surgery / bariatrics first, just because like I feel like I have a personal connection to like knowing people that have had bariatric surgery. And I also have like shadowed the outpatient like obesity medicine clinic where they have children that have underwent like weight loss surgery or adolescents, and so I really loved that. And so like you're not just going to be just doing the surgery, you're also going to be seeing patients like pre-op and post-op and outpatient and in the clinics. And so I feel like that was like very interesting to me, because a lot of family medicine, like in our world, you're seeing a lot of like obesity and that kind of stuff and just like management of it. And yeah, and then for this one, they said that you're gonna have daily opportunities to like suture and dry up the laparoscopic camera. And so I just feel like that would be really, really cool. So that is what I ranked number 1. And then for number 2, I did trauma. I actually did an overnight shadowing while I was an undergrad of like a trauma fellow. She did general surgery, I think, residency, and then trauma surgery fellowship. And so I just thought that would be like interesting. And this one was like kind of crazy to rank top because it might include a week of nights. But I mean, it's 1 week of nights in the grand scheme of things. Like I think it'll be fine. So I'm gonna hit the ground running, but at the end of the day, this is also a lottery. I don't know like what I'm ranked number wise, so I could get my last choice. So I will keep you guys updated and let you know what I get, but I just feel like for me personally, I didn't want to like go through this year and then end up at the end of the year being like, oh, I did everything that I was supposed to like check it off the box, but I didn't like push myself and really like get out of my comfort zone. And so that is ultimately what I decided to do. So that's a little bit about what my rotation schedule is gonna look like. So I'm gonna actually like keep it updated in my Instagram bio, like what rotation I'm on. And I'm gonna try to do at least one day in the life video for every rotation I'm actually buying a new vlogging camera. And then I'm gonna try to like post also on Instagram and then do a video just kind of like debriefing what the rotation was like, how I studied for the shelf exam and our OSCE for every rotation, all of that. So that is my rotations. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on all my videos and life as a medical student, and take care, you guys. Thank you.